Okay, the final item of business this evening is a members' business debate on motion 18527 in the name of Gordon MacDonald on vision for new centre for sustainable brewing and distilling at Heriot-Watt University. The debate will be concluded without any questions being put, and I invite members wishing to participate to press the request to speak buttons. And I call on Gordon MacDonald to open the debate around 7 minutes. Mr MacDonald.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and I'll take this opportunity to thank all members from across the Chamber for supporting my motion in order that this important debate takes place, highlighting the need for a £35 million centre for sustainable brewing and distilling to be built at Heriot-Watt University. Before I start, can I also welcome to the gallery the senior members of the Heriot-Watt University team who are behind this project. Scotland's brewing and distilling sectors are huge economic drivers. Scotch whisky exports were worth £5.4 billion in 2024, the equivalent of 44 bottles a second, or 1.4 billion bottles a year exported from Scotland to over 160 markets across the world. Our distilling sector supports around 41,000 jobs, which is 90% of all distilling jobs in Britain. Beer sales in Scotland are around 428 million, supporting the brewing sector to employ 8,000 people in Scotland and over 120 breweries, ranging from large industrial breweries to independent craft brewers. There is a clear and well-documented need for a new centre dedicated to sustainable brewing and distilling in Edinburgh, driven by increasing industry demand for environmental innovation, reduced carbon emissions, transition to clean energy, and implementing circular economy practices, plus evolving green regulations and the legacy of Heriot-Watt University's leadership in the sector. Given the importance of the brewing and distilling sector to Scotland's economy, it is only right that we have a state-of-the-art facility fit for the 21st century, which will support the sector to continue to grow and expand. Presiding Officer, since 1903, Heriot-Watt has trained generations of brewers and distillers, which has contributed to the success of brewing and distilling not only in Scotland, but across the continents of Europe, the Americas and Asia. In 1989, it established the world-leading International Centre for Brewing and Distilling, which was founded by Sir Geoff Palmer, the university's late Chancellor, who sadly passed away earlier this year. The inspirational leadership continues to this day, with Professor Don Maskell, the Director of the International Centre for Brewing and Distilling at Heriot-Watt University, winning last month Mentor of the Year in the inaugural Women in Beer Awards. So no great surprise that many of today's best-known Scotch whisky master distillers and brewers, including Brewdog co-founder Martin Dickey, Kirsty Black of Master Distiller at Ardbickie Highland Estate, and David Wilkinson, head distiller at Edinburgh Gin, all studied at this existing facility. This proposed new resource is the 21st century upgrade of the existing centre and a fitting legacy for Sir Geoff, as is envisaged to include a living lab for circular low-carbon production, a pilot-scale testbed for greener processes, and a sensory and analytics hub with AI-supported flavour mapping to half concept to launch timelines. This new centre will embrace the latest green technologies and sustainable practices, ensuring that the university continues to lead the world in securing a future for both industries. Presiding Officer, I've seen in my time as MSP for Edinburgh Pentlands the power of training and education in transforming lives. This centre will provide students, apprentices and professionals the training they need, bridging the gap between classroom and innovative industry. There will be new scholarships in honour of the late Sir Geoff Palmer to help widen participation and diversify talent, new online MSc programmes, growth of graduate apprenticeship partnerships and pathways, as well as executive education and continuing professional development, all aligned to industry demand. So it will come as no surprise that I support this proposal by Heriot-Watt University to establish this new centre right here in Edinburgh. This is more than just bricks and mortar. It is an investment in skills, innovation, community and Scotland's global reputation. We all know the heritage of brewing and distilling in Scotland, the whisky, the craft beers, the centuries of craftsmanship, the export successes, and we also know that in an increasing competitive global market, heritage alone is not enough. We must combine that heritage with high-end research, innovation in processes, sustainability and training for the next generation of experts. Heriot-Watt's proposed centre offers precisely that, a place where tradition meets innovation, where our distillers and brewers can pioneer new techniques, where our students are equipped with world-leading expertise and where Scotland continues to show global leadership in the sector. This vision for a new centre comes at a time when the brewing and distilling sectors are committed to decarbonising operations by 2040. The industry is facing extended producer responsibility fees for packaging, and market access is improving, especially in India, where lowering of tariffs strengthen the export case for higher value, low-carbon products. Industry recognises these challenges and opportunities. That is why Diageo and Carlsberg Britvic both back this vision to deliver groundbreaking, sustainable processes and a highly skilled workforce. Presiding Officer, this project has huge benefits for Edinburgh and Scotland. First, in jobs, the new centre will support roles not only in academia, but in industry partnerships, supply chains and productions. Young Scots will have the opportunity to build careers here, keeping talent local. Second, research and innovation. By placing state-of-the-art labs, pilot plants and testing facilities in Edinburgh, we create a hub where companies and researchers can collaborate. We enhance productivity, reduce costs, improve sustainability and strengthen Scotland's competitive edge. To achieve this, we need everyone, from the drinks industry to policymakers, whether at local, Scottish or UK level, to get behind this fundraising effort by Heriot-Watt University to realise this vision. In Scotland, we have many strengths: our heritage, our craftsmanship, our natural resources, our global brand. But strength without renewal is at risk of being overtaken. What Heriot-Watt proposes is renewal rooted in tradition, reaching to innovation, opening doors for our young people, for industry, for our communities. Let us seize this opportunity. Let us build a centre of excellence in brewing and distilling in Edinburgh that is fit for the 21st century, one that honours our past, equips our present and secures our future.
Thank you, Mr MacDonald. We now move to the open debate. I call first Craig Hoy to be followed by George Adam. Around 4 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. I would like to acknowledge Gordon MacDonald for bringing this important debate to the Chamber tonight, and to say that I very much agree with everything he said. This is a subject that is very close to my heart, as many in the Chamber will know that two of the things that I like most in life are beer and pubs, normally taken together. But in order to have that, we need to have good homegrown brewing capabilities here in Scotland, but ones that are internationally recognised. I was delighted, Deputy Presiding Officer, as a newly elected MSP, to be asked to convene the cross-party group on beer and pubs here in the Scottish Parliament. And since becoming convener, we've worked with colleagues who are members of the CPG to raise awareness of the importance of beer and pubs to brand Scotland, and to highlight some of the opportunities and threats facing the industry. So it was good on this occasion to be discussing what is a good news story for the Scottish brewing industry. And only last night, the CPG for beer and pubs met for our annual quiz night. It was a lively event at the Belfield Brewery tap room, just a stone's throw from the Parliament. Close to 100 people, MSPs, staffers and industry figures, including brewers, gathered for some friendly competition, while those who wanted enjoyed a pint or two of Belfield Brewery's delicious IPAs, hoppy ales and crisp lagers. The team at Belfield, like many brewers in Scotland, is dedicated to brewing great-tasting beers. They are independent, they are passionate, they are committed, and they are proud of the beers they brew, and they are fostering entrepreneurship from grain through to the glass. But I think there are some significant issues on the horizon. But what we are talking about today, potentially, could be yet another game-changer in the Scottish industry. And the characteristics that Belfield show, I think, are those embodied by the world-renowned centre at Heriot-Watt University, the Centre for Brewing and Distilling. This is nurtured with undergraduates and graduate courses, and has breathed new life into brewing and distilling, something which is of huge importance not just to the Scottish and UK economies, but also to our global reputation and to our global trading relationships. And at last count, in the South Scotland region that I represent, there were 16 breweries and 703 pubs, and this created 7,530 jobs and contributed £117 million in GVA to the South of Scotland economy. But these are difficult times for the industry. But I'm very hopeful that a new state-of-the-art centre for sustainable brewing and distilling will ensure a sustainable and profitable future for both industries that will feed into our brewers and distilleries and pubs, not just here in Scotland, but elsewhere. But there is, I'm afraid to say, still a significant skills gap facing the brewing industry. And I'm pleased that the centre, if it secures the funding, will play a vital role in training the next generation of industry professionals. Industry professionals, as Mr MacDonald said, are recognised not just here in Scotland, but right around the world. So with the support of brewing giants like Carlsberg and Diageo, I hope that Heriot-Watt University's aim to raise the £35 million will be successful, and the new centre will be able to tackle the fresh set of challenges that the industry faces. And this will also assist them in playing their part to tackle the climate crisis while they remain drivers of employment and growth. Deputy Presiding Officer, brewers and pubs are key strategic assets for the Scottish economy and society, but the sectors are facing mounting pressures from rising costs to regulatory burdens to the tax burden, which potentially could get worse at the next budget. And we therefore need to make sure we provide targeted support. Such a centre would be transformational for the brewing industry, but it alone will not be enough to turn around the fortunes of the brewing and pub sectors. So can I also ask the Minister, when he sums up, to consider the requests of the industry, those stakeholders, including the Scottish Beer and Pub Association, who ask in their manifesto that the Government adopt several recommendations, including for a request for the findings of the cross-party group from Beer and Pubs Brand Scotland report, which we published last year, to recognise the findings of that report and to act upon them. Evidence-based interventions, Deputy Presiding Officer, aligned to government priorities will be a game-changer and potentially can help to save jobs in an industry that is still facing headwinds. I very much welcome the work that the centre can do in ensuring that beer and pubs remain an important part of our economy and a much-loved part of Scotland's reputation, not just here but also abroad. And can I close by thanking Mr MacDonald for bringing forward this debate and lending my voice to support for the centre.
Thank you, Mr Hoy. And I call George Adam to be followed by Sarah Boyack. Around 4 minutes, Mr Adam.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Presiding Officer, I'm delighted to contribute to this members' business debate brought forward by my colleague and best bud, Gordon MacDonald, on the vision for a new Centre for Sustainable Brewing and Distilling at Heriot-Watt University. Mr MacDonald has been well known for a number of years of supporting the industry himself quite vigorously over the years and the time that I've known him. But Scotland's brewing and distilling heritage is internationally renowned, from whisky distilleries of Speyside to the craft breweries emerging across our nation. These industries are not just part of our cultural identity, they are vital contributors to our economy, supporting thousands of jobs and generating billions in export revenue. The establishment of a dedicated centre for sustainable brewing and distilling at Heriot-Watt University represents an exciting opportunity to cement Scotland's position as a world leader in this sector. This centre will combine academic excellence with practical industry application, ensuring our brewing and distilling sectors remain at the cutting edge of innovation and sustainability. Presiding Officer, sustainability is no longer optional, it's essential. The brewing and distilling industries face significant challenges to reduce their environmental impact, from water usage and energy consumption to waste management and carbon emissions. This new centre will provide the research, the innovation and the training needed to address these challenges head-on. What makes this initiative particularly exciting is its potential to support businesses of all sizes, from multinational corporations to small craft producers. As you know, Presiding Officer, all roads lead to Paisley. And in my own constituency, we're incredibly proud of Two Towns Down Brewery, the first brewery to be in the town of Paisley for 125 years. and it was founded by Heriot-Watt graduate Sandy McKelvey in 2019. Two Towns Down is a perfect example of how a world-class education in brewing and distilling can translate into a thriving local business. Sandy honed his skills at the university before launching his brewery, which now operates a successful tap room and hosts community events including brewery tours, beer festivals and their popular monthly quiz nights. But the new Centre for Sustainable Brewing and Distilling at Heriot-Watt University will also play a crucial role in skills development. Scotland needs a highly skilled workforce to maintain our competitive advantage in these sectors. By providing world-class education and training in sustainable brewing and distilling practice, the university will help ensure we have the talent pipeline necessary to drive innovation and growth for decades to come, producing more success stories like Sandy McKelvey and Two Towns Down in Paisley. Presiding Officer, this is about more than just environmental responsibility, although that alone would be reason enough to support this initiative. It's about securing Scotland's economic future in sectors where we already excel. It's about creating high-quality jobs. It's about supporting our communities where many distilleries and breweries are located. It is, of course, about Paisley and the fact that we have our first brewery in 125 years, a family business that works within our community and is an important part of said community. And it's about ensuring that Scottish products remain the benchmark for quality and sustainability in global markets. I commend Gordon MacDonald for bringing this important matter to the Parliament's attention, and I look forward to seeing the Centre for Sustainable Brewing and Distilling at Heriot-Watt University flourish and continue to make a lasting contribution to Scotland's economic and environmental future.
Thank you. And I now call Sarah Boyack again, around 4 minutes. Ms Boyack.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I also want to congratulate Gordon MacDonald for securing this debate, because it's a great opportunity to talk about the fantastic work that's been done at Heriot-Watt. Heriot-Watt University is a leading institution in our city. Its work emanates around the world, and thanks to the creation of international campuses in UAE and Malaysia, this Edinburgh institution continues to create a global impact. Heriot-Watt holds a special place in my heart, as it was there that I taught town planning as a lecturer. And I saw firsthand the amazing impact that the institution has for students and our community alike. And the new Centre of Sustainable Brewing and Distilling will cement Heriot-Watt's reputation at the forefront of one of Scotland's most critical industries. Because, as other colleagues have said, distilling and brewing are one of Scotland's most iconic and oldest industries. For many abroad, Scotch defines Scotland, and it's an industry we need to cherish and to cultivate. And Heriot-Watt has been at the forefront of training generations of brewers for decades. The master distiller at Arbicky Highland Estate and our own capital's very own Edinburgh Gin have studied their craft at Heriot-Watt. And now, once again, Heriot-Watt is defining the future of this field. It takes an industry that has defined our history and equips it with the tools of the future. And as a passionate advocate for climate change, to see one of our universities invest so heavily into the technology that will deliver net zero change is truly inspiring. The Centre will equip the Scotch industry with the tools it requires to fully decarbonise its productions, and from helping firms trial low-carbon heat, CO2 capture and water saving, that will provide a valuable resource for breweries now and in the future. And, as others have said, it builds on the fantastic research that Heriot-Watt's already carried out. The unique vertical distillery in the Port of Leith is testament to the research and development carried out in collaboration with Heriot-Watt. And indeed, Heriot-Watt's International Centre for Brewing and Distilling was established by one of the most prominent professors and former Chancellors, Sir Geoff Palmer, who, as was said earlier by Gordon MacDonald, sadly passed away this year. And I think it's appropriate to pay tribute to his fantastic contribution to the sector tonight, because he was a man that achieved so much in his career, born in Jamaica to becoming the first black professor in Scotland. And of course, Sir Geoff's research in the field of barley continues to influence the industry today. And I was so inspired to hear about the scholarship set up in his memory to support students of Jamaican descent. There are so many brewers and distillers who owe their training to the facilities that Geoff set up. And by building the Centre for Sustainable Brewing and Distilling, Heriot-Watt University will unlock a whole new generation of research, and we will ensure that one of Scotland's biggest cultural and economic exports becomes a world leader in sustainability. So I'm proud that once again our higher education sector is proving why it's so renowned, promoting a key Scottish industry while ensuring we're at the forefront in the fight against the climate emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Boyack. And I now call on Ben McPherson to respond to the debate. Minister, around 7 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Deputy Presiding Officer. And I also want to start by thanking Gordon MacDonald for bringing this important debate to the Chamber on these really significant issues and the project, and also to thank members for their contributions, a diversity of contributions that I will try to respond to in the course of my summing up. Of course, brewing and distilling are not just industries in Scotland, they are part of our national story, as colleagues have emphasised. They are woven into our identity, our economy and our global reputation. And Scotland's higher education system is equally iconic, sharing the same spirit of excellence, innovation and drive to nurture talent that enables our nation to thrive in a competitive world. Whisky in particular is hugely important to our economy, with over $5 billion in exports to around 170 countries and territories. The industry provides £7.1 billion in gross value added to the UK economy. And there isn't a bar around the world in most countries that you can't go onto and see a bit of Scotland on the shelf. And that is remarkable and important to continue to support and preserve. The sector employs more than 41,000 people in Scotland, and its reach into every corner of our country means that in our rural and island communities, brewing and distilling often provide many of the high-skilled, well-paid and secure employment opportunities. These jobs sustain local economies and communities, and that's something we should all celebrate and seek to continue. Heriot-Watt University's International Centre for Brewing and Distilling represents a really significant fusion of these two great Scottish strengths of industry and education. Since the centre was established in 1989, it has connected cutting-edge innovation with industry to deliver real-world impact, as others have emphasised. Its evolution into a centre for sustainable brewing and distilling is in line with the government's net zero ambitions and cements Heriot-Watt's status as a pioneering powerhouse in this sphere. It also ties in with the industry's vision, as set out in the Scottish Whisky Association's sustainability strategy, to play its part in reducing emissions. And I will be pleased to engage with Heriot-Watt University on its proposals in my dialogue with them, and the need to continue to develop skills. Heriot-Watt's impact is wide. For example, the Deputy First Minister recently visited the Ardgowan distillery, where joint research with Heriot-Watt University is improving efficiency, cutting costs and reducing emissions in the distillation process. This is a win for business and the planet, and the research was supported by the Food and Drink Net Zero Challenge Fund, part of a £130,000 package from the Scottish Government in 2022. And to maintain our position as a world leader in brewing and distilling, we must harness every opportunity available to us to enhance and support these industries. One of Scotland's strengths, its greatest strengths, is its diversity and capacity for innovation qualities that are nurtured by Heriot-Watt University, and we need to build on. We have an incredible range of producers, from large-scale distillers, some of which have been mentioned, to crafting some of the world's finest, obviously whisky, but also gin, vodka and rum. And we have a tapestry of brewers. These span the length of the country and are leading the way as a traditional industry, embracing different and sustainable practices, such as the Black Isle Brewery, which is proudly certified as an organic and B Corp, and one of the places personally I really want to visit in the times ahead. And we have Tennant's Wellpark Brewery, powered entirely by renewable energy, eliminating over 4,200 tonnes of CO2 annually from its network. In my own constituency, I also know the sector's value is clear. The Port of Leith distillery, which is the world's first distillery, as was mentioned, is
making a remarkable success, and we have a thriving craft beer scene as well, with Moonweight, New Barnes, Campervan, Pilot and Coldtown, and also Belfield, just over my constituency boundary, each creating unique products that reach national and international markets.
Craig Hoy.
I thank the Minister for his positivity, but he will be aware that 2% of Scotland's pubs closed last year compared to just 0.9% in England. So will he be a voice for the industry within the government, and will he address a concern of the industry that there is an anti-alcohol agenda creeping through the Scottish Government, and we recognise alcohol harm is real, but the industry is doing a lot to prevent it. So will he make sure that he speaks up for the industry within the Scottish Government?
Minister. I think my support for the industry is well documented in the official report of this Parliament, and I continue to be that person in this ministerial brief. I've just talked about my constituency, and I recognise the work that the member has done leading the CPG. I heard the call to engage on the recommendations from the CPG. I will certainly be welcoming if the member wants to engage with me on that, and I know ministerial colleagues in other portfolios will be interested in that too, because Scotland punches well above its weight in the craft beer industry, accounting for 12.1% of the UK's craft beer market, worth £42.5 million, and we are committed to supporting growth for this sector through initiatives like the Guest Beer Agreement, which is a key component of the Scottish Pubs Code, which came into force this year and is making a positive difference. Ensuring that brewing and distilling remain not just legacies but also areas for future success will depend on knowledge, skills and innovation, areas where our universities are uniquely placed to excel. Their capacity for adaptation and forward-thinking research will be critical to sustaining these industries in a changing world. And that's where the CSBD has the capacity through the project to do even more. And the Scottish Government remains committed to supporting the role of universities play in Scotland's economy and society, and I will look forward to engaging more on the proposals for the centre when I engage with Heriot-Watt. In summary, this debate has shown strong cross-party support for brewing and distilling, which is important and an essential part of Scotland's national fabric. We've also underlined the role of our higher education sector in ensuring these industries are not just rooted in our past but remain at the forefront of our future, and we enable opportunities for people to enter these important industries and build their skills. We'll continue to support this sector not only for their economic value but for their leadership and the important role that they play in Scotland's identity and prosperity. And may I also finish by just echoing the points that have been made about Sir Geoff Palmer and how the development of this centre will help to add to his strong legacy, which ripples through our constituencies. I had the great privilege of meeting Sir Geoff several times and hearing his enthusiasm for brewing, and I know the impact in my constituency that he has made with the businesses that are developing their craft there. I had the great privilege on behalf of the Government of attending his memorial, and in today's debate and in many, many other ways his legacy lives on, and we look forward to continuing to build on it.
Thank you, Minister. Having also attended that ceremony, can I add my personal thoughts to Sir Geoff's family. He certainly had a massive impact, not just in the university, but far, far more broadly, and we heard that at that ceremony. And with that, that closes the debate, and I close this meeting of Parliament.